Hello everybody! Today we're going to be talking about some everyday hair habits that we all do that could actually be ruining the condition of your hair. We all work so hard to have nice hair, to have good looking hair, but there are these little things that we can be doing, including myself I've learned, these little habits that can actually be ruining the condition of our hair or even affecting the way in which it grows out and just generally the look and appearance of our hair as well. So hopefully once you know what these habits are, you can change your ways a little bit like I will be doing from here on out, just making these minor changes to make sure our hair looks and feels the best that it can be. But before we get going, guys, subscribe. I know people say this, but I know a lot of my viewers aren't even subscribed. You're saving my videos for later and then just watching whenevs. And like this video as well if you like this kind of video. It doesn't help me in any way other than knowing what you guys like and don't like. So let's start off with number one, and that is how we shampoo our hair. I mentioned to you guys before that we use shampoos on the roots and the mid-lengths, and then we use conditioners on the mid-lengths and ends. However, the technique of shampooing our hair is really important as well. I know a lot of us guys like a good scrub with our fingers when we're shampooing our hair, but this is quite damaging for your hair. Not only can it bother your scalp quite a lot, especially now you're scratching shampoo into your scalp, but you can also be pulling out hairs right from the root as well, and we don't really want that. We kind of want to keep our hair looking as thick as possible. So guys, just use the base of your fingertips like this and give your head more of a massage than a scalp when you're shampooing your hair. Number two is towel drying our hair. So once we get out of the shower, it's usually an all-important step to towel dry our hair before we go into styling and applying a pre-styler and then styling products as well. It also helps speed up the drying process if we are using a hairdryer. However, using a dry towel on your hair can actually cause quite a bit of damage to your hair in the long run. So first of all, not only does rubbing your hair with a towel increase frizz, make your hair all staticky, and makes it very, very difficult to style, but it can even lead to knotting of your hair and breakage of your hair as well. This is something we're going to hear a lot about, is breakage of your hair when it's wet. So scrubbing and pulling out your hair when it's wet is going to break your hair basically. So what you can do instead is use an old t-shirt. I'm not going to be doing that. I'm just going to use a normal towel and I'm going to dab my hair. What I usually do is get my fingers like this. I'll turn off the shower, get my fingers like that and like squeegee the water out of my hair before I then step out. But just use a dabbing motion instead of a scrubbing motion, again with your towel. Number three is not using UV protection. So I've never really been bothered about this. We don't get a lot of sun here in the UK, but a huge trend this year is to treat your hair like you would your skin. Although very different, it's quite nice to have those different layers of hair care like we do skincare. And one of the most important steps in skincare is using an SPF. Now our hair is completely different to our skin when it comes to things like that. It's already dead, like what we're gonna do. But using UV protection for your hair is actually gonna stop it from drying out and getting damaged. Constant exposure to the harsh sun is gonna make your hair dry and brittle. So what can we do? There are so many pre-styling products nowadays with UV protection built in. This is perfect when it's in the pre-styling stage, as you can brush that through and then set it through as well. Also a newest trend as well is having that UV protection in the actual styling product. We don't need to rub like sunscreen through our hair or anything like that. Just make sure you're using pre-styling products with UV protection in. Number four is overusing styling tools. We know that hair dryers can be bad for your hair. We know that curling irons, who use the curling iron? We know that straightening tools can be bad for your hair as well. But it doesn't always have to come from heat, so this damage can actually come from our combs and our brushes, round brushes, things like that. To put it very simply, these can snap your hair, these can pull out your hair when used excessively or harshly, or if you're, for example, using a round brush and you haven't quite got your technique down yet. These can basically rip out the hair by the root and also give you split ends if you're not using them correctly, too much or too harshly. And this is particularly true when your hair is wet. Again, when your hair is wet, it's a lot more vulnerable to things like breakage. So running a comb or a brush through your hair snaps that hair right off or right in half. You could buy things like tangle teasers, which are great for running through hair. They don't snap your hair, they don't pull it out. Every so often, I would just use your fingers instead of a styling tool. If you do the right technique, you can still get the same volume that you get from a round brush or a comb. So yeah, just give your hair a break every so often. Don't wash it when you don't need to. Don't style it when you don't really need to. Wear a hat. Hats are nice, you can just do that. I wasn't quite sure how to word this one, but using the wrong products in the wrong order at the wrong time Does that make sense? I don't know. So for example, what I see a lot in hair tutorials on the internet is people using like a hair oil and like a coconut oil and then drying their hair. What happens when you take an oil, then apply heat to it? It sizzles, it cooks, whatever you're gonna then put in it. So you're basically cooking your hair, you're frying your hair, you're deep frying your hair when you're putting oil in your hair and applying heat to it. It just doesn't make sense. This is the same for pre-stylers with high alcohol content in, usually the cheapy ones that you get from like drugstores. These are gonna over dry your hair, again making them brittle, making it fall out, all that kind of stuff. If you are gonna use oils, oils are great for your hair, don't be scared of them. But what you should be doing is washing it out before you then dry your hair or apply any heat to it. Even if you used it the day before, the next day, wash it all out before you then start styling. Using the wrong shampoo for your hair type and scalp condition, and using and washing it the wrong amount of days. I really struggled with that. So basically, using the wrong shampoo for your hair and then not washing it the right amount of times that's specific for you. There are so many videos on YouTube that say this is the shampoo you should use, and you should only be washing your hair so many times a week. But it's all very personal. I've mentioned this so many times before. I think everyone's guilty of this, going to the shop, buying a 90p shampoo, because it's all the same thing, right? It's not. No, it's not all the same thing. For example, I have an oily scalp. I have naturally oily hair that gets greasy very, very quickly. So I, first of all, wash my hair every day after like months of experimenting. That's what I find out works for me. I then use like a balancing shampoo, a very gentle one with gentle cleansing action that cleanses effectively without being too harsh on my hair or stripping out the oils that I need in my hair. So it gets rid of all the excess, but not what I naturally need. So if you have a dry scalp and dry brittle hair, you might want something different. If you have a dry scalp but you get greasy hair quickly, you'll need something different. The best way to work this out is when you go to your barber, when you go to your hairdresser, or next time you're in the salon, just ask your stylist, ask your barber what the condition of your scalp is, what the condition of your hair is. And once you have that down, once you have that shampoo, then work out how many times a week you should wash your hair that works for you. Like I mentioned, I'm alright with washing it every day. It might be the opposite for you. 2 to 3 times a week, that might be too much. Maybe once a week works for you. It takes time to work this out. You can't just Google it. It's all very, very personal to your current situation. So take it slow, you'll work it out eventually. I hope you enjoyed that. I know I've got a few habits that I need to stop there. But that's it from me now, guys. I'll see you next time.